Seth Rollins stripped of World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins just lost everything in one night, and I mean everything. The World Heavyweight Championship? Gone. The vision, the faction he built? Kicked out. His status as a main event player on Raw? On hold indefinitely while he recovers from surgery. Pearce opened Raw with an official announcement that Seth Rollins has been stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship due to injury, and Paul Heyman followed up by confirming that Seth is no longer part of the vision because he's not fit to lead anymore. So in the span of 2 weeks, Seth went from being champion and faction leader to being injured, titleless, factionless, and sitting at home wondering where it all went wrong. Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and today we're breaking down Seth's complete fall from grace, what caused this injury, why WWE had to strip him of the title, and what the future holds for the Architect when he eventually returns from surgery. Let's start with how we got here because Seth's downfall happened fast, but it wasn't random. At Crown Jewel, Seth Rollins faced Cody Rhodes in a champion versus champion match to determine who was the real top champion in WWE. It was a huge match with major implications. Seth won, which should have been his crowning moment, proof that he was the top guy. But during the match, Seth went for a coast-to-coast dive, which is a high-risk move where you jump from one corner of the ring all the way to the opposite corner. It's spectacular when it works, and it's devastating when it doesn't. Seth landed badly on his arm, and immediately something was wrong. He finished the match because that's what professionals do, but the damage was done. Then the following week on Raw, the Vision turned on him. Braun Breaker speared him. Bronson Reed hit a tsunami on him. Paul Heyman aligned with Breaker and Reed instead of Seth. And Seth was left destroyed in the ring. At the time, we thought it was just a storyline betrayal, a way to write Seth off television temporarily while his arm healed. But tonight's announcement made it clear that this is more serious than anyone realized. Seth needs surgery. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future, which in WWE terms usually means months, not weeks. And because of that, WWE had no choice but to strip him of the World Heavyweight Championship. Pearce opened Raw with this announcement, and before he could even finish, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed interrupted him. Pearce insisted they needed to hear this from him directly. He explained that while everyone knew Seth was hurt from Crown Jewel, nobody realized how bad the injuries actually were until the attack on Raw made everything worse. That attack by Breaker and Reed compounded the existing damage and pushed Seth's injury from something he might have been able to work through to something that requires surgery and extended recovery time. So in a twisted way, the Vision betraying Seth actually justified their betrayal because by attacking him, they ensured he couldn't continue as champion. Pearce said Seth is at home and will be on the shelf for the foreseeable future. That phrasing is intentionally vague because WWE probably doesn't have an exact timeline for his return. Arm and shoulder surgeries can be unpredictable. Recovery depends on the severity of the damage, the success of the surgery, how well Seth's body heals, and how aggressive his rehab is. We're probably looking at a minimum of 3 to 4 months, possibly longer if complications arise. That means Seth could be out through the end of the year and potentially into early 2026. That's a massive blow to Raw's main event scene. And then Paul Heyman twisted the knife even further. He confirmed that Seth Rollins is no longer part of the Vision. He's been kicked out. Heyman said Seth is no longer fit to lead the faction, which is a brutal assessment. Seth founded the Vision. It was his group. He brought in Breaker and Reed. He aligned with Heyman. And now that he's injured and vulnerable, they've discarded him like yesterday's trash and moved on without him. That's cold. That's ruthless. And that's exactly the kind of thing that makes Paul Heyman one of the greatest villains in wrestling history. So Seth has lost everything. The championship he worked so hard to win. The faction he built from scratch. His position as the face of Raw. His health. His immediate future. Everything that defined Seth Rollins' character for the past several months is gone. And when he eventually returns, he's going to have to rebuild from scratch. That's a compelling story. That's a redemption arc waiting to happen. But right now, Seth is at his lowest point, and WWE is making sure everyone understands just how far he's fallen. The decision to strip Seth of the title makes sense from both a storyline and practical perspective. You can't have a champion who can't defend the title. The World Heavyweight Championship needs to be on someone who's active, who can show up every week, who can have matches and create storylines. Seth being injured for months means the title would be sitting on the shelf with him, and that helps nobody. So WWE had to make a decision, and stripping him was the right call even though it sucks for Seth's character. Now the question becomes who fills the void Seth left. The World Heavyweight Championship is vacant. Raw needs a new champion. WWE will probably do a tournament or a series of matches to crown a new champion, and the smart money is on either Braun Breaker or someone like CM Punk stepping into that role. Breaker just kicked Seth out of the Vision and is being positioned as the next big thing. Giving him the championship would be a huge statement. Punk is also in the title picture and has been teasing a championship run. Either option works, and both would create interesting storylines moving forward. For Seth, the road back is going to be long and difficult. When he returns from surgery, he's not going to be able to just slide back into his previous spot as champion and faction leader. He's going to have to fight for everything. He's going to have to prove himself all over again. And most importantly, he's going to have to get revenge on the people who destroyed him. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman are all on Seth's list. When he comes back, he's coming back with a vengeance, and that's the kind of motivating factor that creates incredible television. The timing of this injury is particularly cruel because Seth was finally getting the kind of championship run he deserved. His previous reigns were either during the pandemic era or were cut short by circumstances. This World Heavyweight Championship run was supposed to be his moment to prove he could carry Raw as the top champion with fans in attendance. And now it's over before it really began. Seth won the title, had a few defenses, got betrayed, and now he's stripped of it. That's a tragically short reign, and it has to be frustrating for Seth both as a character and as a performer. But here's the silver lining. When Seth returns, he's got a built-in storyline. He's got clear targets. He's got motivation. He's got a redemption arc that fans will want to see. He's going to be the sympathetic babyface who lost everything and is fighting to get it back. That's compelling.